Testing. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Phase Dota Circuit Season 8. Regular season match between Costco Hotdog and our Pause One is Legend. This is a heavyweight bout between two of the best teams in the league thus far. Our Pause One is Legend, I believe, is like 11-1 this season. Something approximating that. And Costco Hotdog has a very good record as well. The standings haven't been updated in the last couple weeks. I'm not exactly sure where they're placed, but I've heard talk from the side of our Pause One is Legend that they're a little worried that this might be their toughest matchup yet. I'm going to pull up some stats here. A lot of these stats are going to be from the prior patch, so we might see some new stuff coming out today. On the side of Costco Hotdog, they're going to be banning a lot of mids, actually, starting off with the Queen of Pain, Necrophos, and Viper. That makes me wonder if they're going to try and go for like a Huskar pick, like a first pick or something like that. And pretty unusual to be going right after the mids instead of what's more traditionally picked in the first pick phase, which is more of a support or an offlaner or like a very strong hero that one of the players plays. Our Pause One is Legend doing something a bit more traditional. Wraith King is pretty strong. Brewmaster, I imagine, is something that someone on the side of Costco Hotdog plays. Looking at the stats, I don't see them having picked it. So I'm not actually, yeah. They picked it one game but lost with that hero. So I'm not sure. I'm guessing that would be like a 3 Brewmaster. They banned the Dragonite last pick and pick up the Kunkka on our Pause One is Legend. Starting off with the Kunkka. I don't think Kunkka got changed that much in this last patch. I know that he was sort of a monster in the professional leagues on a first pick, first ban standing. And I don't think he changed that much. And he's probably still very strong. Just playing against him in a couple of games this patch, he's still a very tanky mobile hero. The X is pretty brutal for any kind of mobility heroes you want to go for. And it's pretty hard to counterpick the hero. He just offers a lot of durability for his team. Witch Doctor gets picked up on Costco Hotdog. This is likely going to be played by Zendron as the position 5. And Witch Doctor is very strong this patch. In pubs, at least, he has I think it's like a 56% win rate. And Maledict is decent versus the Kunkka's run buff. Kunkka likes to run in and start fights by like running in, and Witch Doctor can absolutely punish that. With a Kasky, with a Maledict. If you get the Ags, you can, just destroy a cluster of clumped heroes. For their bans, Costco Hotdog are to get a ban on Ember Spirit, so continuing to ban out every mid imaginable. It makes me wonder if this Kunkka is going to be played mid. Maybe our Pause One is Legend just wanted to get ahead of the curve and just pick a mid for Emu before all of his mids get banned. So it'd be interested to see if that's a mid Kunkka or if they flex it somewhere else. Jakira gets picked up on the side of Costco Hotdog, so you see the support pairing, I imagine. Could be a core Jakira, but most often it's played as a support role. Jakira is decent counter initiator. It's a tanky hero, so it doesn't get immediately exploded by Kunkka. And on Power Pause One is Legend, they'll go Chaos Knight. Now, they have picked Chaos Knight quite a bit and have had great success with the hero. I'm honestly surprised that more teams don't ban the Chaos Knight. I believe it's Seal who plays it, and they are an absolute monster on the hero. It's a very strong laner when played in the support role. And once you get a couple of levels, you can start running around, stun heroes up, pull them in. You get the facet that does the randomized effect, either like a break or silence or disarm, or I forget exactly what the combinations are, but Seal generally goes like Aether Lens on the Chaos Knight just to extend the range of that pull, and you basically get like the distance of a Pudge Hook when combined with the level 10 talent. So you can just draw people into your team. So those two heroes together are very brawly, run in. And Witch Doctor is pretty good against that, along with Jakiro. So I'm going to be curious to see how well these two heroes are able to run around with Witch Doctor Jakiro in play. Rubik is picked up. Likely a 5 Jakiro, played by Dravs. And a lot of good spells for the Rubik to steal already. Ice Path is a great one. You could steal Witch Doctor ult and do a ton of damage that way. And that's 3 stunners so far on the side of Arpazwan's Legend. So lots of disable for any kind of mobility here that Costco Hotdog wants to play. Going into this draft that Pazwan's Legend has picked thus far, you probably don't want to pick any kind of like elusive heroes that get demolished by stuns, stuff like Anti-Mage or like a Morphling. You'd probably want to pick something that's more like sit on the front line and be a big bully, like a Slardar. Because Slardar, with the innate status resistance and the just durability from being in water, from just being a strength hero, just makes it so it's harder to initiate on the Slardar, and he doesn't get exploded by all this combined CC on our Pause when his Legend. It's a very nice frontliner to have when you're playing with the Witch Doctor and Jakiro. It's something that can actually initiate start fights, chase heroes down if you win your lanes and you're able to play like that coming out of the laning phase. Costco Hotdog could continue to pick like big frontline bullies. TA is pretty decent. Our Pause One is Legend doesn't have great like multiple instances of damage to break through the refraction charges. It's basically just Torrent at this point. And if Rubik steals like Jakiro spells that can chip through the refraction charges or refraction charges, yeah. Templar as well is a carry that it's kind of hard to pull in as the CK because the TA can just kind of turn on you and explode you very quickly because support CK doesn't have that much armor. And TA Slardar combo is incredibly potent with that negative armor. If Slardar ults the target and TA is able to get on top of that target and meld strike with a Desolator, it's just gonna be something like negative 30 armor. Depending on the stage of the game, that's very unsurvivable. So I'm curious to see how our Pause when his Legend responds. Necrophos is not in the pool. So you could pick something like a Muerta, just trying to ignore the physical damage altogether. You probably don't want to pick something like a traditional right click and carry unless it has some kind of invulnerability feature, like a Slark. Well, Granola doesn't play Slark, but heroes like Slark or like a Juggernaut or a Troll. Just something to be able to avoid right clicking these carries to death. They decide to hold off on picking their 1 for the time being. They go with Axe. Axe is definitely a hero with a ton of armor. I'm feeling like they might be missing a little bit of damage on our Pause when his Legend. I think this last pick carry needs to deal a ton of damage. Because CK by itself doesn't really do that much damage. Like single target, it's fine, but AoE, not that great. Axe has to hit multiple targets. It's unreliable damage. Axe is good laner versus Jakiro, so you'd probably see Jakiro be played in the 4 role, just so Jakiro isn't double hitting the Axe. And Costco Hotdog bans Sniper, which I don't think Granola has played Sniper this patch. So I'm wondering if they're thinking that the mid hasn't been picked yet, if they think the Chaos Knight is the position 1. And they pick TA with the expectation of like having a hero that can destroy the illusions. And they go Sand King. Okay, so they think that this is going to be something like a support Kunkka, maybe a position 1 CK. And like they're banning out mids like mid sniper and mid sand king. It's quite unusual ban. I'm thinking about what heroes our pause one as legend wants to get rid of the pool. They want to ban out a mid that anything that can like survive through their burst essentially, because our pause one as legend is a very bursty team. And a lot of the good mids have already been removed. 2 of the spirits have been removed. You could maybe consider something like a storm spirit. They go with the Anti-Mage. Okay, maybe I'm misreading this draft, but I'm quite confused by these final bans here. Banning the Anti-Mage makes me think they're going to pick up a Medusa and have that kind of team fight for, and there it is, for like being able to fight late game and have that kind of damage. So I think the game plan for our Plasma's Legend is win the lanes and make a ton of space for the Medusa, but just have the expectation that they're going to fall off and not be able to team fight as well going into late game. Or going into mid game. And so they want something that's very late game that can survive and win a long team fight. And that's going to be the Medusa. So not doubling down on their kind of burst win lanes, make a ton of space. They kind of just have the Medusa as like a insurance policy, in my opinion. Costco Hotdog. Well, Anti-Mage is banned. You could go something like a Windrunner with Diffusal Blade if you wanted to really get something to burn off the mana. I feel like they have enough damage, though, to be able to deal with a Core Medusa. Because Core Medusa doesn't really have that much great ways of boosting mana pool or have good mana regen. They usually go carry items. So Tidehunter is the last pick. Puff is... I'm not sure who's the 3, Puff or Lovely. I think Lovely is the 3. So this is likely going to be a mid slaughter. Either a mid slaughter or a mid TA. I think Vindicator is the 1. So I think it's a 1 TA mid slaughter. Slaughter versus Kunkka. I'm not sure how that matchup goes. I imagine Slaughter with his regen is able to sustain in the lane a lot more than most people would versus the Kunkka. Especially getting that bonus armor, being able to tank those Tidebringer harasses. And I think this is an unusual draft by Arpaz is Legend. I think if Arpaz is Legend loses lanes, they're going to have an extremely rough time with Costco Hotdog's draft. Because I don't think they have a lot of built-in damage inside their heroes. So they kind of rely on just getting that advantage from lane. It's a nice Axe set. Thanks, Axe, for that underwear. And they have a lot of CC on our pause when it's legend, but lacking that built-in damage, I feel like, might be their Achilles heel if they don't win the laning phase. I'm trying to... Ah, man, it's broken again. So I have to DC and... It's like right now the camera's screwed. It's locked into somebody's perspective. Can I exit or can I kill this? Well, the cursor's going to be there. Can I? No. Yeah, I'm gonna have to back out and watch this game with the delay because the camera's bugged. That's unfortunate. because it's not. Well, you know what? Let's screw it. Let's try it. I've encountered this bug before where you're kind of locked into the perspective of the players. And so I'm gonna be fighting with the camera, and we can only see one side. But you know what? Screw it. We'll use this janky camera for one game and see how annoying it is. Oh, it's gonna fight me the whole time, isn't it? It's gonna fight me the whole time. All right. Well, starting off the game, we have in the top lane, Grabs playing the Rubik, supporting Granola on the Medusa. They're going to be playing against Lovely on the Tide, supported by Rulebook on the Jakira. Can I do camera zoom? Let's see. Nah, I can't even back out if I wanted to. All right. In the mid lane, it's going to be Umu and the Kunkka facing off against Puff on the Slardar. I imagine Slardar has that lane just because of the regen. Oh man, it's going to fight me this whole time, isn't it? Oh yeah, I'm sure this is nauseating for the viewers at home. All right, we're gonna back out of this. So we get to enjoy the end of the draft. I will restart the stream for game 2. Just so we're not on a massive delay. But we get to watch the very end of the draft, looks like, and go back into the game. So back to what I was saying before. I feel like our Cosmonaut's Legend lacks damage, unless the Rubik steals like a Ravage or Macropie or something like that, or Corrosive Haze. And they need to win laning phase. Costco Hotdog's draft is a lot simpler to execute. They have multiple heroes that can just blink and start a fight with the Slardar Tide Hunter. They can follow it up with Witch Doctor, Jakiro, spells like Maledict, Macropire, Ice Path. TA can blink in on whatever target Slardar's jumping in on. Our Punzwa's Legend doesn't have great save. They have Peel, but not save. Not something like a False Promise for an Oracle or a Disruption from Shadow Demon, stuff like that. So if any of their heroes get jumped on by like BKBers, it's going to be hard to protect that hero. And Radiant has the ability to deal damage without without needing items per se. There we go. All right, we got my good camera. So let's try this again, shall we? Starting off the game, smoke play by Dire. They're going to be running top. Radiant are going to be running bottom. No smoke. Both sides going into their respective jungles. And just doing a bit of scouting. And let's introduce the players now. We have Zenderon on the Witch Doctor, Vindicator on the TA, Puff on the Slardar, Lovely on the Tide Hunter, and Rulebook on the Jakiro. On the Dire side, Emu's going to be playing Kunkka, Dimitri on the Axe, Granola on the Medusa, Drabs on the Rubik, and Seal on the Chaos Knight. Just based on what we saw, the lanes, I expect that top lane with the Drabs on Rubik, Granola on Medusa is gonna be hard to kill those heroes with the Tide and the what was it? It was Jakiro. I think that's gonna be a pretty static lane. Mid lane, I feel like it could go either way between the Slardar and the Kunkka. And bottom lane, it was the Axe and the CK, so 2 melee heroes versus a TA Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor can absolutely destroy those heroes, depending. But if Witch Doctor misses his combination of the Paralyzing Cask and Maledict, this Axe and CK can get a lot of hurt from this TA. TA does a lot of damage, TA plus Maledict. Can do a lot of damage. Let's get on our last hits to knives, and we start the game for real this time. Double slow starting off level 1 on Radiant offlane. It means this Rubik has to be a bit careful and not get out of position, because the Dual Breath plus the Gush means that it's going to be very difficult for the Rubik to run away with both these spells on him. Does mean that Tide has a bit of a worse lane, just starting out of the gate with no Anchor Smash or Kraken. But once he gets a couple of levels, should be fine. Bottom lane, TA is doing a great job of harassing Dimitri. Dimitri already half HP. Witch Doctor's pretty low as well there. They're going to initiate on him, drop out the Kasky. The bounce is not lucky though. Dimitri's able to walk it off. TA now getting pretty low. Seal, not quite level 2 yet, so has no pull. So these heroes are pretty low down here. I imagine we're going to see some kind of play once the Witch Doctor gets Kasky. That's why I'm staying with this lane for the time being. Witch Doctor gets the level 2, but is playing very far away from the TA. CK is going to go on the TA. TA is getting pretty low, runs to the safety of her tower. And that will be first blood on the Axe with that Battle Hunger, bringing her down. Surprised to see Witch Doctor just back away from TA there. Leaving her to get harassed and die to that CK. In the top lane, Tide now has Anchor Smash, opting not to go Kraken Shell versus these two ranged heroes. Jakira's doing a pretty good job of harassing the Straps away from the Tide, so Tide doesn't feel like they need to level Kraken Shell just yet. Mid lane, it's going about as I expected. Both heroes about half. Both sides got to be a little bit careful of the other. Kunkka actually went double bracer into the Slardar. Slardar opting to go that bottle first. I imagine we're just going to see a lot of like these kind of skirmishes with each other. Both heroes very tanky, lots of right click damage. They kind of both want to be hitting each other. And Slardar wants to spend as much time in this water as possible. Bottom lane, Axe is fighting to get some CS against this TA. TA has a slight edge on the CS for the time being. Looks like Witch Doctor got that first Lotus. But the stun's going to come out from CK. Nice bounce from the Kasky. Prevents Seal from continuing any further. Now they're going to turn with the Maledict. It's only a level 1 Maledict. So likely won't be enough damage unless TA can get a splash. Ooh, going for the splashes. That's going to do a lot of damage to CK. CK's going to be forced to back, but now his Axe is alone. Jakira getting quite low top. As well, we have a rotation by CK going for the water rune mid, securing it, preventing Slider from getting it. That's quite big. Because I imagine whichever side has more regen in that mid lane is going to win the lane. Axe is not feeling too happy bottom. Level 3, casts Battle Hunger on the TA. They're both pretty low in these dire heroes. I'm not sure how aggressive they can afford to be. Witch Doctor has the Lotus, gets the mana, throws out Kasky onto Chaos Knight. Gets fairly lucky with the bounces. I think one more right click would have killed that at CK. I'm surprised the Witch Doctor didn't continue and try to bring him down. CK's a pretty fast hero though. Maybe they didn't feel like they could catch up. First 5 minutes, we've only had 1 kill thus far. Not for lack of trying, though. Bottom axe is getting pretty low. We're going to jump over there. He is maledicted, but still hanging out in the lane. CK flanking the Witch Doctor will find the Witch Doctor. Now running away. The CK is just running around trying to find out a moment of weakness when this Witch Doctor is either alone or used spells, and exploiting that. I'm surprised these dire heroes have not been pushed out of this lane thus far. TA full resources, and the CK and Axe feels like they've been kind of low resources this whole time, but still just laning. Almost feels quite illegal. Tide is going to be bullying top. Looking at the CS, Slaughter is leading the way. We actually have a rotation by the Jakiro on the mid. Corrosive Haze comes out from Slaughter onto Kunkka. He gets his 6 first, and that's going to get him a kill. But we have the TP rotation by Rubik. But Slaughter in the river so fast, runs and gets the invis. May want to turn this around. This is only a level 3 Rubik. He was all alone in the water. This is the Slaughter's domain. And Slaughter's just going to turn around and get the kill here. Axe dies in the bottom lane meanwhile, but we're going to watch this as Slaughter now picks up a double kill. 3 heroes dead in the mid lane. Bottom, that Axe finally got punished for staying in lane low resources. And all of a sudden, the net worth kind of swings around. It spikes to the favor of Radiant as those 3 heroes die, not respecting the Slaughter with that Corrosive Haze. And the supports have kind of split up for the time being. Jakiro is going to the triangle, stacking it up. Looks like they're working on a triple stack in there as they run to the Wisdom Shrine. Axe gets Dyers. Jakiro will get the Radiance. Bottom lane, we're going to have a hero advantage for Dyer versus this TA. TA kind of feeling it out. Has no obs, but maybe feeling like something was amiss there as the CK was approaching in lane. Kind of feels like both sides are prepping, but nobody's committing until now. Tide now starts on the Rubik, gets pulled back in as he tries to run away. This Rubik's pretty low. Tide just a creep or 2 off that Ravage. Now has it, so Rubik has to be a bit careful not to get too close. Meanwhile, the mid lane Slaughter is just bullying this Kunkka. Kunkka is probably one of the few heroes that can actually sustain versus Slaughter, but Kunkka actually dies. Tidehunter actually dies top. I'm just wondering how that happened. I'm guessing it was combined magic damage between the Rubik and the Dusa. They just combined magic damage and brought him down. Ravage was not used though, so they still have that. Seal is going to scout out these stacks in the triangle, but get bullied away by this Jakiro. Don't think Jakiro has the movement to finish this, but it's going to do quite a bit of damage. Boat committed onto Slaughter, trying to do the combo. Kunkka with a DD. Slaughter whiffs on the stun, but that's going to be it for now. Nope, CK is going to come in, find the Jakiro, and Kunkka's just going to whack him with that Tidebringer and bring him down. So a miss on the Slaughter, but they pick up the consolation prize on the Jakiro. And we're all tied up at 4-4. Looking at CS, Kunkka is in the lead, followed by the 3 Radiant cores. And Axe is the core suffering the most as not having a great time versus TA. You can actually see Axe going double ring of protection into the TA, just trying to boost up that armor as much as possible to survive the harass damage. We have a congregation of Radiant heroes mid. Huff is going to get X'd up by Kunkka. Kunkka will cast out the Torrent, but that's going to be it. And it kind of feels like both sides are happy to farm for the time being. So, like I was predicting in the draft, I feel like Dire really needed to win their laning phase and get a lot of kills and kind of make space for this Medusa. I don't think this Medusa contributes much to the draft that Dire have made for themselves. Witch Doctor's going to throw out that Maledict onto Medusa, but Medusa does not really care about that, as Maledict is based off of damage done to the health bar, not to the mana. So, kind of a waste of a spell there. There's going to be some stuns being casted on Tidehunter. Rubik's TPing out of here, leaving the seal for dead. Where did the seal TP to? He TP'd bottom. Oh god, the lag. Hang on, let me try and change some settings to reduce this lag real quick. Preview. That fix it all? No, not really. But they made a rotation bottom, but there's nothing really happening there. Meanwhile, Granola left to himself up top is going to get dived on by 3 heroes. Rubik gates through to try and save Granola. Granola has the Lotus, pops 1 to survive a little bit longer for now. They're going to transition their attention over to the Rubik, who is going to go down. But now Axe TP's in, no blink, just the Vanguard thus far. That hero is pretty unkillable. And Radiant, realizing that, are going to start running away. Axe! Ooh, cast animation on the Tide is not fast enough. Axe does not get that double coin blade, so support for support at the end of it. Medusa survives, Medusa's still farming. Slaughter did rotate up here. I don't think he has blink on Courier, so probably doesn't want to reveal that just yet. Yep, gets it just now. Probably want to bait on a support or two in the top lane. Try and get one of those heroes to go in so the Slaughter can jump on him. But, oh, here we go. Tide is going to start on the seal. He's going to run at him, gush, slow him down. Kasky on the Medusa. It's kind of a zoning Kasky, as they're just going to bring the CK down. That will be the blink reveal. I'm sure they wanted to get a core with that pick off, but they got something out of it. TA not feeling too comfortable bottom, is farming up Ancients, now goes to lane now that the Axe is showing in the creep wave. TA has the Dragon Lance, is working towards Desolator. I imagine that's going to be TA's timing. TA actually, with the help of this ward right here, is going to TP away from that lane. Just probably going to give up that tower and go to greener pastures, as Dire is going to actually try and push this tower, but the Tidehunter is going to come down here, and that's probably the one hero that Dire can't really kill that easily. Tide is full HP, has that Kraken Shell. It's very difficult to bring this hero down. Is standing on obs though, so Dire are pretty aware of what's going on up there. We actually have Medusa die down up here. Sorry for missing that. Actually, let's go back. We're watching on the delay, so we can go back and see what happened. Let's see. Medusa goes in versus the Slaughter. And yeah, Medusa just gets caught, did not level a wolf. Easy kill. We will keep watching. Rubik actually stole the Death Ward, and that brought the Witch Doctor down. So a nice little pick off there. Getting that Medusa is actually quite huge. And it just really feels like both sides are stalling for time. Stalling for either abilities or items. Like, they want these cores to be able to get their timings before they really start to go to a fight. Like, Tidehunter just wants to be farming the whole time. Then once you have Ravage, you can try and force things, which is what he's doing now. CK is going to be caught by the Gush. They're going to chase the CK down. Single target Paralyzing Cask on the CK. Radiant now backing up. Stolen Cask is actually going to stun these heroes up a little bit. Dire feel like they want to do something. against this tower. I just don't know if they really have the damage to bring down this Tide Hunter. Just trying to harass him, poke him, waiting for these supports. These supports are much easier kills. Axe has the blink. And they're going to start on the Tide. He's going to get purged though, and he's getting low. He drops the Ravage. It's all four Dire heroes down here now, as Tide's going to start running away. Jakiro drops the macro now. This Axe is getting pretty low, but chops the Tide now. Kunkka's now here, Radiant running for their lives. Jakiro running into the trees. CK's going to find them, gets zapped by Drabs. And looks like Slaughter got the kill on Medusa again during that. So Radiant lose 3 heroes, but the Medusa goes down. I feel like Medusa is like a huge part of their team going into the mid game. So Slaughter doing an excellent job there. Well, not here. Slaughter blinks in on the tower, gets... Ooh! Blinks in on the creep wave, gets called by Axe. Axe cooling braids a creep. I'm not sure if that was intentional to get the move speed to be able to chase or not, but CK was in the area, was able to stun up that Axe, or that Slaughter, and bring down that kill. So no chop victory, but Slaughter is dead. Bottom lane, Tide Hunter is back at it, pushing the tower. The tower will fall down. Axe is going to blink call onto the Witch Doctor. Getting very low. No call means he has to manually punch this Witch Doctor to death. As Tide is just trying to find something to kill, but Dire's just kiting him around as they go after the supports instead. Tide Hunter realizing he's all alone down here now. It's just going to run away. That's 2 dead. An excellent play by Dire, just completely ignoring the Tide. When the supports are far easier to kill. These immobile supports, Witch Doctor and Jakiro, just don't have abilities really to escape and run away from like this Blink Axe and this very fast CK. This feels like a very weird game thus far. It just seems like both sides are trying to dodge each other, like plays are happening, but then counter plays are happening on the other side of the map. Like each side feels like they're doing everything they can to not fight each other, but also fight each other. Not sure how to describe it. Radiant have been doing a great job of pushing out this top wave and keeping it pressed all the way up here, so they've had tons of space in this top jungle to just farm up on the TA and the Slaughter. Medusa feeling like bottom is really the only safe place to farm. She'll go down there. She's working on Ags after getting Maelstrom. That will give her multiple Maelstrom procs. I'm actually not sure how Maelstrom interacts with Medusa Ags, because I know you can only have 1 bolt of lightning out at a time from the Maelstrom. I have a blinking by Slaughter on Medusa. She's quick to pop that Stone Gaze though. Slaughter's keeping up with her, trying to get in front of her, and yeah, she's going to be corralled back into Radiant's side, but Axe is here at this point. Counter initiation by the Tide Hunter though. And the Witch Doctor ult is going to bring down the Medusa and the Axe. Both comes in a little bit too late now as the Kunkka starts running away from this TA, getting chased away. Slaughter on the side is chasing after CK. All of Dire just desperately trying to run away. That CK will explode, and they'll turn their attentions over to the Corrosive Haze Rubik. That Rubik's going nowhere. With no Blink Dagger or Force Staff or anything of that nature, he's just going to be brought down. That's 4 heroes dead. Just Dire a little bit too slow on the that boat there. And 4 down, about a 3,300 gold swing. And we have a brief pause here, but the action starts right back up. As Radiant look to take Tormentor now with TA, Tide, and Slaughter. This is probably going to be a extremely fast rush attempt. I don't think Dire could even contest this if they wanted to. And I'm curious to see who they put it on. I imagine it's the Slaughter or the TA. Yeah, they give it to the TA. No, it's still there. Still waiting. Are they baiting? Kunkka's thinking about it. Oh, they'll put it on the slaughter at the end of the day. Lines are being drawn top. Looks like the Tide wants to push out the top tower. Dire has pretty decent vision on this side of the map. So it's probably the best place for them to fight in. And CK is going to be found by the Slaughter. Slaughter's just going to basically solo kill him. I don't think he needed the Ice Path there, but it comes out nonetheless, and CK just explodes. It's only for 20 seconds, though, so if Dire wanted to fight up here to defend this tower, they probably could. It's a little bit difficult. And this feels like the part of the game where I mentioned in some drafts, they kind of run out of steam. They don't really have the damage to contest these heroes with their draft, and they're just hoping that the Medusa gets fat enough to be able to 1v5 the team. But they're going to go high ground now. And this is something I don't think you can really ignore as Dire. Yeah, our Plasma's Legend is going to start TPing heroes back. Medusa comes in, the supports come in, Kunkka's in base. The Axe hiding in the trees, looking for some kind of initiation. Radiant feel it out though. It's gonna retreat, so they just made a ton of space on the map with that play. They took that tower down to half HP, and now TA is just pushing out this bottom lane. As Dire are now hemmed into their base, but not for long, as they're gonna smoke out and look for something here. Seems like they're splitting up a bit. TA did show bottom, so they may be hunting her, but at this point she has gone top as Radiant are looking to take Tormentor. Dire's just running around trying to find a hero that's not here. And Tormentor should clue them in that the TA is not in the area. They're going to keep going though. They're actually going to go to the gate and maybe try and find something here. But nobody's coming through. Let's look at net worth here. Yeah, now Dire's not really in a position to go back and defend. Two heroes don't have TP scrolls. And Radiant are about to start hitting your base. So now, once again, Dire needs to come back here, and they're going to start TPing again. That's quite a bit of gold they're losing to just TP scrolls. Tower's going to go down. And start poking down these heroes. Slaughter has the Aegis. They're going to start trying to bring him down. Ooh, nice crit on the TA there. Brings down Drabs. Slaughter goes in, trying to bring down this squishy CK, but that's going to pop the Aegis. Axe solo calls the Tide Hunter. Probably not the hero you want to be calling. Maybe he got caught out there. I wasn't sure. Stone Gaze doesn't really do anything as the Slaughter BKBs into the backline. Is just right-clicking this Medusa down. Kunkka's trying to work on the backline on these supports. Trying to keep an eye on both sides of the action here. As TA is going to bring this Kunkka down. Buyback on the Axe. Trying to do something here, but it's just a dead Witch Doctor 4 now. Jakira's very low. Axe is going to be able to blink on that. Bring that down. Gets the chop on the TA. Now this is looking really bad for Radiant. As Dire are going to mop up here. That's a 5-man wipe. They buy back on 2 heroes though, Kunkka and Axe. And lose that ranged Rax. Very well executed base defense by Dire. They get 3k gold off that, even with the buybacks. And we're going to see this gold advantage start tumbling down here as a result of that play. And the clock is ticking. They need this Medusa to get as farmed as possible. She is working on that Mjolnir now after getting Ags. And just at the moment, she really is not a factor in these fights. So it could be another 20 minutes before Dire really starts having the initiative again, I feel. So Tormentor's down, Roshan is down. What does Radiant do? They still have tier 2 outers they could work towards. They could also just farm up items. TA has Hurricane Pike queued up. That could be an item they could be working towards. Tide is just working towards Ags. Go for that AoE Gush. You honestly don't see Ags that much on Tide, but with this physical damage heavy lineup, I kind of like it. Tide and CK are going to see each other. CK is going to pull in the Tide, silences him. Gets pretty lucky at that silence, actually. I think Tide could have just dead in the watered him if he didn't get silenced there. But CK is not punished. And is able to run away. Dire are playing close to their base, as Radiant have congregated bottom. And are going to work on this tier 2. It seems like Dire are completely fine with giving this up. Kunkka's going to be pushing out top. CK's going to be pushing mid. As Radiant get this to bottom tier 2. Are they going to go high ground here? They have all their spells. And they have heroes showing... Dire is showing other heroes in other lanes. So Radiant knows that they could force TPs back at the minimum here. And that's exactly what happens. We have TPs in by the cores, forcing them back, and now Radiant is going to rinse and repeat, just force them back and walk back to their lanes and fix them up. TA is going to be showing mid, Slaughter is going to be showing top. Dire does not have vision of the heroes in this triangle, but they're going to be coming in here to try and make a play regardless. Or at least go for the D ward. And once again, Radiant just taking the safe path. They have the advantage in terms of heroes with itemizations right now. They're just going to finish off this last hour. CK is going to throw out a stun, but this is just harassment. Dire do not want to fight under this tier 2 with Medusa still offline. Medusa actually did not go the full Mjolnir, instead going Butterfly. Butterfly I feel is going to be doing a lot more in fights versus a Mjolnir. So, and it also helps you survive against the TA if the TA or Slider jumps you. Radiant are going to start working on this top rack. Says we have a nice axe go onto Jakiro Tide. Jakiro's just going to explode. Ravage comes out though, but the Tide is very low. TA finishes off that axe. Stone Gaze is going to keep Dire's team alive for the time being. Radiant, was that a Blinken or was that an X? That was a X. Slider just gets pulled back in. They really want this Rax before leaving. TA is going to finally get that last click. But this might cost them as Tide trying to run away. Nice counter initiation by the Slider though. Goes back in. They find the Kunkka. That's a huge kill. No buyback on him as he bought back last fight. Now Medusa getting so low. Drab picks up double kill. Radiant heroes are dying. Witch Doctor will go down to seal. And now it's just the TA all alone. So they get that final melee racks, but at a price. 2,500 gold swing going the way of Dire as it's a 4 for 2. Tidehunter just getting a little bit too low in that fight to be of much of an impact. Getting brought down by that axe. And Radiant are going to retreat and lick their wounds as the Medusa gets stronger and stronger. I'm pretty sure Medusa wins the late game matchup versus TA. It's just a question of whether the physical, the negative armor is enough to counteract Medusa's innate high agi. She did finish up the butterfly, so Medusa is pretty strong right now. She's not farming though at the moment, as Radiant are going to be going into the Roche pit. Roche will roar out. There's no Kunkka on the side of Dire, so unlikely that Dire is going to come and contest this. They will put the Aegis on TA this time, as Slider is left to grab the banner. Dire playing very close to base, pretty scared to leave it or show in lanes. Rubik is taking the safe farm on the side of the map here. And Radiant rotate top. Curious to see, considering the objectives are mid and bottom there. And you probably want to rotate down to the bottom lane and try and push that in while top naturally pushes in with these super creeps. It feels like Radiant are kind of waiting for a timing. Slaughter has a Ags on the courier. That might be the timing right there. That's going to be of a huge help in fights if the Slaughter is able to survive for a long time. Tide also very close to Ags. Only needs one more creep to get that. So I imagine that's what Radiant are waiting for before they begin to push. And what did Tia grab? No, just TP scrolls. Okay, so Radiant's playing without buybacks, and they can afford to. They still have all their tier 2s available. As they are enjoying a substantial gold lead for the time being. XP lead is actually equivalent at this stage of the game. And it just really comes down to whether these supports on the side of Radiant can get picked off by Dire, if Dire wants to win the team fight, and if this Medusa is allowed to right-click. Because the longer Medusa is right-clicking, the more likely their chances of winning here. Radiant have successfully congregated bottom, and they will begin the high ground siege. They drop banner to keep the siege group alive. CK will pull in TA, but TA gets X'd actually back by the Kunkka. As a lot of poking going on the time being. Medusa's just right-clicking. Radiant can't survive against this right-click for wrong, except this Tide maybe. Tide stays on the high ground, gets disarmed. Slaughter on the back, finds an axe, is going to blink on him, try and bring him down. Tide is going to go down though. So they're missing their Ravager in this fight. And Radiant, they're going to try and run away on the Slaughter. Slaughter pops the BKB to get away from the X. Ooh, nice pick off, or nice jump by Axe on the Jakiro, trying to bring them down. I imagine this is going to be a dead Jakiro. Yep, we'll go down to that CK, so... Excellent job there. Tide just getting brought down there at the start of the fight. And Axe... It was a nice play by Slaughter to cancel that Axe blink. And prevent that, although I don't know if Slaughter is really the hero you want to be doing that. Slaughter is very important to your kill heroes goals on the side of Radiant. And Axe along with Kunkka are the most difficult heroes to kill. So Medusa's getting stronger. Working towards what looks to be a Scotty. Slaughter's hunting though, has no BKB. Has to be a little bit cautious. No Roche for a while. I don't know if Radiant can afford to really wait around for next Roche. Oh, they still have Aegis, sorry. What am I talking about? I'm talking to my ass. So they still got 80 seconds on Aegis. So they still want to push. They still have Ravage. So I feel like they just need to like run in and try and force something. Damn the counter initiation. Because if this Aegis is allowed to expire and they get nothing off it, that's going to be another like 3-4 minutes of Medusa getting stronger. Which this Medusa is. She's top, taking the safe farm while her team sits in base, waiting for the inevitable push. Expecting the Radiant to push here, Costco Hotdog, with this 45 seconds remaining on Aegis. They don't have the creeps though. The creeps are way back here. Tide is escorting them right now. This Aegis is only going to have like maybe 10 seconds on it by the time the creeps get there. But I imagine Radiant are feeling in a bit of a pickle right now because they don't want to let this Medusa farm any more than she's currently getting. Their Slaughter and TA don't get that much stronger the later this game progresses. Axe gets a little bit too far forward. They're going to pick him off. That's no buyback on the Axe. And that's a massive component of your team fight gone. Slaughter and Kunkka are messing with each other while this is going on. We'll stick with over here for now, as Slaughter is chasing that Kunkka. In the bottom lane, CK gets a little bit out of position. They're going to bring him down as well. He's using to stay alive a little bit longer. That Kunkka did get away from that slaughter as both heroes rushed to get to this fight. Tide getting pretty deep, chasing after this Medusa. TA is just going to be working on this Rax though. That's going to be second set of Rax gone. This Tide is getting worked on, half HP. Just getting right-clicked by this Medusa. Mjolnir doing wonders to bring down this high damage block hero. But now Kunkka has to use the remaining of his BKB to run away. Slaughter BKBing as well, but there's a Stone Gaze Medusa, and you cannot do anything when there's that kind of spell on the ground, even if you're BKB'd, so Radiant are forced to retreat. They lose Witch Doctor, but they get that set of racks. That's a big victory for Radiant there. Dire get ahead in the exchange in terms of gold, but they absolutely lose the map presence with that barracks going down. Now, it's not the end of the world if you get Mega'd, because Medusa can just tank forever, Axe can just tank forever and kill lots of creeps, so Radiant still has a job to do if they get Megas. But I think with that second Rax gone, Radiant are feeling pretty confident about waiting for next Roche and getting that next Aegis before pushing again. They're going to be splitting up the map, farming up. Looks like Tide is going to be going for a refresher next. Slardar feels pretty poor this game. He's 4th in CS. Be curious to see what Slardar goes. And TA is working towards BKB. Can't actually buy it, but holding on to that buyback for now. Chaos Knight went Aether Lens, Yule's Ghost Scepter, so very much a utility, defensive kind of CK. Axe, meanwhile, going very tanky. Tripling down with the Vanguard Blade, no Lotus. On top of that Blink. Kunkka, very tanky as well. We're going to have a Blink in by Tide. Drops the Dead in the Water onto Kunkka. Dire going to turn around, pull him in, Axe Call, follow up. Ooh, this is going to be a huge Ravage. 5-man Ravage as the Tidebringer goes down. Slardar, meanwhile, just jumps in, but Stone Gaze is going to force him back. He's stuck there. Witch Doctor dies as well. Kunkka, or Tidebringer, Tide Hunter buys back. He's coming back into this fight as now Kunkka is going to get caught out. Axe buys back, TP's in, they look for a counter initiation. Jakiro's going to go down, and TA is just on the high ground hitting this Axe, trying to bring him down. Both supports dead on the side of Dire as we have a buyback. That's actually just an Axe buyback. Slaughter did go down though. This Medusa is untouched. So a bit of a wasted buyback there from Tide as 2 die on the side of Dire. Axe is the only one who buys back on the side of Dire. Surprised it's not more. This Medusa just, being ignored, staying alive in fights, popping that Stone Gaze off at a critical time to counter-initiate these BKBs. Ooh, TA just blinks away from that X there. X was in the process of being casted. Dire trying to find something. TA's get a BKB turnaround on this Kunkka, but that is not really a hero you can bring down in a quick amount of time. As we have double wards getting placed by Dire, they're feeling pretty confident now, even with 2 sides gone. And yeah, Dire's going to take the time to ward up and get some map presence back. I was looking at items. Kunkka did go tank as well, just tons of tank, just trying to stay alive long enough for this Medusa to do her job as CK gets found top, brought down. 50 seconds death on the clock for that CK. And Axe might get found here. Sarda's gonna blink in. Axe does not have BKB, but does have Lotus. Purges off the first corrosive haze. It's gonna call up Tide. That's gonna be a dead Axe. No buyback on Axe. And Radiant are rushing down mid. This could be Megas here. Not sure how hard Dire want to commit to protecting this. They do have the Stone Case. Slaughter blinks in. Was that blind? No, they had the obs there. And just gets away. I really need to change my settings for next game and fix this frame rate. This is nauseating. Anyway, Axe is still dead for 60 seconds. Radiant looking for the in. It's just there's not really a great target to go on. Medusa's way too tanky and has that stone gaze. Kunkka can peel for her. Medusa can peel for him. And you're going to be fighting into a ghost ship no matter what. So it just feels very difficult. Roche is up. Roche is available. If the Radiant want to go back for that. And Medusa's posturing pretty aggressively on the high ground. Slardr's going to try to go for this Rubik. Nice 4-man Ravage by Tide. It's going to catch all of them as Boat comes in, stuns up quite a few heroes. Slardr dies really quickly, but buys back. Is coming back into the fight. Jakiro goes down as well. Tide getting very low. It's going to get X'd back. And the Medusa's going to bring him down. No, actually, the kill's going to go for Kunkka. Buyback on Jakiro. Radiant know this is their timing. And they got to do something with it. But Tide is dead with no buyback. Switch Doctor's getting hunted down. It's going to drop the Maledict onto this Kunkka. Kunkka really wants some X Torrent combo. There's no Radiant heroes in the area to try and save. And ooh, this Kunkka's teleporting. Ice Path just not quick enough to bring him down. So there's no boat, there's no stone gaze, but you also don't have Ravage. So do you feel like this is the opportunity to go high ground as Radiant? Doesn't seem like the case. The TA and Slardr are going to run away. And Dire are more than happy, as painful as it is to be playing into this, Dire are more than happy to just sit high ground and wait. This Medusa they don't really have an answer for this Medusa on the side of Radiant. And she's going to be able to carry the game by herself if given the opportunity to. So you got that Scotty. Yep, looks like this is going to be a Mjolnir. She's saving for buyback though. And so she's just finishing out the rest of her core items. Roche was getting taken. I was not paying attention to that, apologies. But Aegis goes on to the TA once again. And Slardr is... I'm surprised they don't give it to the Slardr, actually, considering how quickly he seems to be getting popped in these fights. Slardr picks up the cheese and refresher. I imagine they're going to give the refresher to Tide. He's building a refresher of his own, but Shard will give him that for the next fight. You can kind of see Radiant was riding a pretty nice gold lead for a solid 20 minutes of the game. And that gold is starting to equalize. XP is now heavily favoring Dire, as they still have quite a big win probability, according to Gaben, but that's not factoring in this Medusa. Now, Radiant are definitely on the ball here. They are the ones who are going to be starting things because they got two sides pushing in at all times. And with this teamfight heavy comp on the side of Dire with Medusa, Axe Call, Ghost Ship, they absolutely want to be fighting in their base in a controlled environment where they can see the enemy and know they're all there before they commit spells. 3.5 minutes left on Aegis. Dire's doing the right thing by just waiting in their base, not coming out. This Medusa is feeling pretty invulnerable now. It's actually kind of hanging out in front. As Radiant just doesn't feel confident to really go higher ground. Like, it's going to be difficult to just right-click this tier 5. At this point, if like you can't even do it with heroes, you may even consider just waiting for necro summons and just do it that way. If Dire's never going to leave their base, this is going to be so hard. CK's going to pull in this Jakiro. Jakiro gets out of position, just going to pop. Just like that. That's how dangerous this Dire team is. You cannot get out of position like that. Now Dire are going to smoke out. Leaving base, looking for something. Tide is going for farm as they're going to find the Witch Doctor next. And Witch Doctor is going to go down immediately thereafter. Both supports just exploding on the side of Radiant. And now Radiant have to go back and retreat. There are lanes that Dire does have to manage, though, so this can't be a all-out push, as Aegis still has 2 minutes remaining on it. Well, the predictions we had at the pre-draft and during the draft were true. This is a very close game one, at least. I feel like this is one of the harder games that our Pause When His Legend has had to fight for themselves in this season. Once again, I think they've only lost one game thus far. I think they're like 11-1, and so they're definitely on the ropes this game. But they have the Medusa factor here, and it is just extremely difficult to push high ground into this hero with this much backup and peel. Dire are going to be coming out, actually. They're leaving base for the time being. Medusa pushes out a wave mid. Dire's all hanging out in the mid lane. And they're acting like they want to find something, but they can't hang around forever because the side lanes are pushing in at all times. Kunkka is spotted. No, there's no obs here. Obs will get dewarded. And the Aegis is 30 seconds from expiring. I don't imagine Radiant's going to do anything with it. And this might be just a wait for 60 minutes. Waiting for those tier 5s. As much as it sucks to do, I don't think there's any item or like Roshan gift or reward that can help you win a fight at this point. So it might just be get tier 5s and then push before Dire are allowed to farm up tier 5s. With these side lanes pushing it at all times, if Dire does manage these lanes, these base creeps will never like come out of base and you won't be able to farm them. So Radiant are missing out on that CS, and so that's why they're kind of stabilized on gold at the time being. Radiant is farming the jungle, whereas Dire is farming these side lanes over and over. So that the net worth is going to be stable for at least a little while. And yeah, it just seems like both sides are waiting for somebody to fuck up. We may have a go here as us. Link Ravage on the Medusa, trying to bring her down. She's half mana, 0 mana, going down. She has buyback though. They actually bring her down. Axe goes down as well, but double buyback from those two. If Radiant gets out of here now, that's going to be a huge victory for them. Slaughter is going to get pulled back into base. He's running. He cheeses up. But honestly, the Slaughter dying, that is massive. It doesn't really matter because what Radiant just did was absolutely massive, getting those 2 buybacks on Dusa Axe. So now this game gets interesting because Radiant can now try and attempt that same play again. And if they're able to bring down this Medusa and or Axe once again with that kind of like suicidal jump in, that'll be the game. So I expect Radiant to now just wait on their Slaughter to come back. And then try that exact same play where they wait for the Medusa to just leave base. Medusa's been the one, pushing out these waves. She's been coming out aggressively. She's been farming these sideways a bit. So unless she changes her strategy, that opportunity may reveal itself again. Kunkka's going to find a TA. She's going to force herself away from the torrent, though. As Radiant's going to wait for their Slaughter. Dire are playing extremely passively. And they have to with Medusa and Axe on buyback. These heroes cannot afford to be caught out at the time being. And so they're not going to leave base. And Dire without those heroes doesn't really feel confident enough to leave base as well. They will go out for a D-ward with the Slaughter Deb. As both sides continue to farm it up. Let's do another item check. Kunkka is working towards Ag's Blessing. That's going to be pretty fun for the... I guess that's just damage. The CK went Aeon Disc, trying not get popped. Rubik went E-Blade. I imagine that's for save, for if they try and jump Medusa again, you can E-Blade the Medusa. I don't think Radiant has a nullifier for that. No, they don't. And Radiant are going to wait for Roshan. Medusa is not 6-slotted quite yet. Has that wand. And working towards BKB. And Axe is good. Basically the exact same items we saw last time. Has just picked up that fresh BKB though. We have a jump in by Tide onto CK. No buyback. I think CK was either playing around that ward. Oh yeah, that's a dire ward. So it was just playing around that ward. I'm not sure how they saw him, but that's a dead CK. I don't think Radiant go in just yet. I think they wait for Roshan. I think Aegis is going to be more important than the than just a dead CK. Looks like Slaughter did crash, so we're gonna have a bit of a pause here. Am I getting crash? No. Oh no, it kicked me out. Oh no. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the game plan update. I'm gonna try restarting Dota. I'm gonna put the thing on the stream for a second. And I'm going to try and relaunch Dota. So we can see the rest of that game. 1 second. Man, this game has been absolutely fraught with technical issues. I apologize for this, but there's not much I can do. Did Dota just break? It's not giving me the tournaments. Give me 1 moment. I think the game updated and it just completely broke my watching of the game. I'm trying to find the replay review of the game. There it is. Okay. So I have the replay review now. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, so I don't know when the replay will become available. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you the match, and you can see that Costco Hot Dog Victory did win that one. I have to go into the game for next game, which is why I'm showing you this. I apologize for not being able to show you the very end of the game, but technical difficulties, what can you do? So I imagine that, yeah, they took Aegis on TA, and I imagine there was just one fight where they killed the Medusa. She didn't have buyback, and they were able to end the game from there. Apologize for not being able to show that, but I have to get into game 2 here, so that will be up shortly. Do I gotta rebuild the... Yeah, I gotta rebuild this. 1 second. There we go. Okay. Welcome back, everybody, for Phase Dota Circuit Season 8, Game 2 between Costco Hot Dog and our Podlands Legend. Apologies for the technical delays, but not much I can do on my end. Couldn't wait for the replay because the Game 2 was starting. And Costco Hot Dog did win that last game. Direk, or our Plasma's Legend, kind of pinned their hopes on that Medusa getting nice and big, but Radiant made an expert play with just diving that Medusa, killing her, forcing her to buy back, and then just waiting, getting that Roshan, and doing it all again. So I felt like the drafts in that game were pretty equal. I think Dire had a solid game plan. They just lacked kind of like the damage to be able to win mid game team fights on their own. They were a little reliant on the TA. And I'm curious to see if any of the heroes that got played game 1 get banned this game. Costco Hot Dog will be picking up Witch Doctor once again, so they seem to like that aspect of their draft game 1. And they ban out a similar cast of heroes, both sides banning out a similar cast of heroes with their first set of bans. Our Plasma's Legend actually bans out the Kunkka this time around, so we will not see Kunkka for game 2. Clockwork gets picked up by our Plasma's Legend. And what can we say about this draft thus far? So Costco Hot Dog is continuing its kind of theme of banning out mids. They pick up a support for their first pick. Our Plasma's Legend picked up their mid first pick with that Kunkka. This time, a little bit more conservative, going with that Clockwork. And Clockwork versus Witch Doctor is a matchup that the Clock likes. Like, you do have that BQB piercing way to disable the Witch Doctor. Should the Witch Doctor get big? Witch Doctor wasn't a massive factor, I'd say, that game. It kind of felt like all the fights were basically like can TA and Slaughter burst heroes through stuns, more so than what do you call it? His ultimate doing that much damage. But you never know if the Witch Doctor does get big this game. It's nice to have that BKB piercing disable on Clockwork. Clockwork as well is just like a nice initiating support. And gives you some more options when you're picking up your other cores, because you generally need to have some kind of initiator on your team. It's usually the mid or the 3, but if you pick it up on a support, you can pick something a little bit more what do you call it? More unorthodox, such as like a Underlord. Our +1 is Legend kind of doubles down on the initiation aspect of their supports. They're going to pick up Shadow Shaman as well, so multiple ways to cancel the Witch Doctor's ult. And Shadow Shaman is a pretty strong hero in this patch. DK gets picked up by Costco Hotdog, followed up quickly by Jakiro. So Costco Hotdog's going to rock the same support duo they did in game 1. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. Just making sure everything's good on this end. All right. And DK is just a tanky hero that doesn't he doesn't explode when getting bounced around. He doesn't get extremely he's kind of hard to burst with the Shadow Shaman like blinking in and disabling him, for example. Like you wouldn't want to pick something like a Puck or like a Furion or something squishy of that nature when you have a lot of disable like this on these supports. So same support duo. They pick up the DK instead of, I imagine that would be a replacement for the Slaughter. So this is likely going to be like a mid DK. Our +1 is Legend goes Juggernaut pretty early on. 3rd pick on their draft. They're going to follow it up with, what do they need here? They probably need just some kind of hero that jumps in with the Clockwork and the Shadow Shaman and does a lot of damage. You could see something like a Storm Spirit. Or something of that nature, maybe like a Night Stalker. Like ideally something with like a blink-in ability or just some kind of jump in to be able to burst down these heroes that Shadow Shaman and Clockwork catch. They go Lina. This could be played as a position 1, but with that Juggernaut, that's probably going to be a 1 Juggernaut, so likely going to be a mid Lina. And Lina is very fast if you go the Flame Guard build. I believe that's what that spell is called with the Ags. You can also go Blink Dagger on her. So you do have ways of bursting heroes with this draft thus far. I feel like you may have wanted something that isn't as reliant on items, though, before you can start working with the Shadow Shaman and Clockwork to get kills. And they lack front line on our +1 is Legend for the time being. Costco Hotdog picks up Lycan. Dogs are going to be able to pull aggro from the battery. Assault dogs can also kill the squishy Shadow Shaman. And if they get on top of the Lina, they do a pretty good job on her as well because they slow her and slow her attack speed. And Dog is not the greatest versus Juggernaut. The counterplay would be to try and, if Jug omnis you, would be to try and get the wolves to tank the aggro. But Lycan by itself doesn't really like getting Omni Slash, so I'm curious to see how this Lycan fares in this draft. Lycan's also a very fast hero. You can get into the backline pretty quickly. Right now, it's a lot of push-up coming out from Costco Hotdog between Lycan, Jakiro, Dragonite. They're able to take towers extremely quickly, especially like in independent operations. So if like a fight goes on in one side of the map, you'd be able to push with these heroes on another side of the map. Our +1 Legend is going to ban out TA and Drow, so we're not going to see TA again this game. TA actually would have been pretty strong this game. TA is very strong versus Lina Jug. And Drow is, I like the Drow pick because it just kind of amplifies what they already have, which is massive push. They kind of lack I'd call it hard disable on Costco Hotdog, but they kind of lack AoE CC. Their CC is mostly just a single target. It's basically just Ice Path that does multiple targets in a single go. Although you could see a red Dragon Knight. That'd be a very rare red Dragon Knight if you wanted to have that additional AoE CC. And I feel like Costco Hotdog doesn't really have a great way to pin down this Juggernaut right now. They don't have any good like spells to stop him and spin. It's basically just right click him while he's in spin. Costco Hotdog bans out the Axe and the Templar Assassin, so they're expecting to see a 3 here. Legion is very good at locking down the Lycan, preventing him from running away. Also, they have no save on the supports to prevent or to stop duel, so I do like that ban. Axe, likewise, is very good at locking down Lycan and Dragonite, so you can kind of see Costco does not want to get locked down on these heroes on the draft. They're going to pick up PA. This is a very interesting draft by Costco Hotdog. That's 3 very greedy heroes with PA, Lycan, Dragonite, all wanting a lot of farm before they really start fighting and pushing. But massive physical damage versus the only real armor on the side of Dire is Juggernaut, unless Clockwork goes the dog shit facet, which is the Eat Chainmail one. So if you are Dire, you probably want something with armor that doesn't get eaten by all this physical damage, and you probably want something that pushes towers. That's going to be Magnus. So Magnus will amplify the Juggernaut's flash farming capabilities. God, I really hope I don't have to redo this cast again. But Magnus is going to amplify the Juggernaut's flash farming abilities, so they want this Juggernaut to be very strong. The idea with Arpaz when his draft is just you empower the Juggernaut, you ult these like frontliney heroes with Lycan, PA, Dragonite, and you just let the Juggernaut like Omni all 3 and just do tons of damage with that AoE. Because I feel like these supports don't. Well, you can run around these supports and get solo pickoffs. There's quite a few targets this game for Shadow Shaman and Clockwork to find. Witch Doctor and Jakira, meanwhile, I feel like they're going to have a hell of a job trying to delay this game as much as possible for their Dragonite, Lycan, and PA to get farm. And I think this is going to be really dependent on the laning phase, because I don't think Radiant have a great way to defend high ground. They basically have like Dagger and Jakiro spells, and that's about it to push heroes away. So it's going to be difficult if they lose laning phase. On the side of Radiant Dire, meanwhile, they have Alina, they have like Blink skewers by Mag to pick off heroes. Shaman can disrupt and find catches if they try and push high ground. Clock can just kind of split up heroes if they try and push high ground. So Dire not so much worried about if they lose laning phase, if they have to defend high ground. Their prospects of that. I'd have to look at the lanes themselves to make a prediction to see how these will go. But I do like the simplicity of Arpaz when his Legends draft. It's a lot simpler for their supports to just find a target, jump them, and then if the Magnus goes blink, the Mag can follow up and like skewer them to the Lina and the Juggernaut to kill. Also, if Radiant ever get together, and let me see if I can get this up for you. Yeah, and Radiant have to be very careful about not grouping up together. As this is going to be game 2 start of the Arpaz Wins Legend versus Costco Hotdog series. We're going to have a Smoken by Dire. They're going to walk high ground, find a Witch Doctor, Seal running up ahead with the Cogs, trying to find somebody. Ooh, backs off at the last second, misses the Cogs. And that's going to be a whiff on getting a first blood there. P is going to be running to lane. And the rest of Radiant are going to be running a mid, trying to reposition and get away from this pretty scary level 1 from Dire. Between the Cogs, the Shackle, Skewer, and Blade Fury, although it X's have to do with Shockwave. A lot of damage potential on the side of Dire for level 1, whereas Radiant really just has a bunch of cores. Might have a fight here top. Jakira's going to get stunned up by the Rasta, but Rasta's getting flanked by the Lycan. Jug meanwhile runs in with Blade Fury, getting Jakira low. Blood Grenade comes at the very last second, and Granola's going to pick up the first blood. That's a really nice pickup for your pause 1. Drabs, though, is going to get chased down, running away, will choose to die to get those full resources and TP back into lane. But they get the first blood, they put it on the Juggernaut. And that's going to give Dire a slight advantage coming out of the gates here. Let's start off with lanes. In the top lane, it's going to be a lovely play in the Lycan, supported by Rulebook on Jakiro. They're going to be facing off against Granola, Juggernaut, and Dravs on the Shadow Shaman. In the mid lane, it's going to be... Actually, let's look bottom real quick. Might have something happening here. No. In the mid lane, it's going to be Puff on the Dragon Knight, facing off against Emu on the Lina. And lastly, in the bottom lane, it's going to be Vindicator on the PA, supported by Zenduran on the Witch Doctor, facing off against a never dual melee lane, Dimitri on Mag, and Seal on the Pause for Clockwork. I imagine that it's going to be difficult to kill this PA, because she's going to be able to blink out of cogs. But I think Witch Doctor is going to be kind of food for this Mag and Clock. If Clock is ever able to power cog this Witch Doctor, I feel like Magnus can just come over and skewer either into more cogs or away from the PA. And this could be a very dead Witch Doctor. If that happens. I don't think PA is definitely not as strong as a TA in lane. And so I feel like this Mag and Clock, I feel like this Mag is going to have a much better lane in general than Dimitri did on the Accent last game. Mid lane, Lina versus Dragon Knight. Lina kind of stomps melee heroes. Dragon Knight has the advantage, though, of having that Worm's Growth for that extra regen. If Emu is able to get Bottle and just secure a bunch of runes and have the mana to magic damage this DK, then I think DK is not going to have a fun time in lane. I expect Lina to have the CS advantage in that lane, if not the kill advantages. PA getting very low bottom. Looks like it was like a skewer power cog, but I kind of want to watch bottom because of the potential between skewer and power cogs. But let's finish off our predictions for the lanes. Juggernaut, Shadow Shaman, very powerful lane. You got to be careful about getting caught out of position. Lots of base damage between these two heroes, and in fact, they're gonna do a little bit of harass damage on this Lycan. Lycan's just man-moding on this Jug, showing the power of the beast, but Dravs didn't level up that Ether Shock. Granola really wants that last kick. Might end up costing him his life, but Jakira now gets turned on. Getting very low. These Radiant heroes are very low in this top lane. Rasta out of mana, though. The Lotus has come up, and so Drabs could go back for that. Meanwhile, top lane, we have a PA getting bounced around in cogs. Kasky comes out as there's a pause by the PA. Magnus has the Skewer. Clock is out of juice, has a little bit of battery assault left. I imagine... Well, PA has Blink in a second. I'm curious to see if Mag goes for the Skewer now or waits for the Blink out. Pushes him away, and nope, that's just going to be dead. Alright, level 1 Skewer doing quite a bit of damage. Going to be a fight over Lotus. Witch Doctor's not going to win this trade. Clock has cogs in a second here. Mag actually backs out. I think Mag could have stood around and secured this kill, but Mag going back for the wave under tower as PA now TP's in, going on the seal. And PA has that blink. Meanwhile, Jakira did die top, but we're going to be following this for the time being as PA finally brings down that Clockwork. Overstaying is welcome a little bit. Mag was forced to go back under tower and ends up costing the Clockwork his life and a kill. I think if this Lycan is able to get some levels, I think this is going to be a very difficult lane for Dire. Like Rasta can shackle you, but the wolves kind of just kill you during that if the wolves are available. Lena is bullying this Dragon Knight for now. Dragon Knight low resources, but the Lena is also out of mana, so Dragon Knight able to survive a little bit. Drops his item on the ground, interesting. I was just looking at the drafts, like Radiant, they're very greedy. Their team fight isn't all that great. I think they're hoping to just try and get it to late game, or maybe just start pushing really hard. This might be like a pocket PA. As Witch Doctor is going to get skewered back, pushed into the cogs, nowhere to go. Dead Witch Doctor. Neutral's trying their best to bring down that Witch Doctor and deny him, but he will go down. Yeah, I feel like this is going to be the exciting lane down here, so we're going to keep an eye on this. All of Dire's cores are ahead of their Radiant counterparts. So it's an indicator that Dire are winning these lanes here, if the kills weren't good enough. Mag actually goes into tower, has Lotus, pops it. He's maledicted though. It's a level 1 maledict once again. I don't think that's going to be enough to kill him. He's going to survive with 20 hit points, so very low on that Magnus. Seal hanging around. It's a very tanky hero on that clockwork. So he's able to just chill. Even against two heroes. We actually have Jakira rotating bottom. They're going to get onto this clockwork. He's going to be able to cog out though. Just run away. TP rotation by Dravs to react to this Jakiro TPing in. That's going to leave Lycan alone with Jug, but he's not even going to be laning. He's actually just going to be farming the jungle. As that lane seems to have been given up. This is probably going to be a free farm Juggernaut this game. Lena has the shield rune, no mana, has bottle charges, can actually bottle charge with the shield rune up because it doesn't break, but she doesn't do that. And pop stick, it's a nice double stun onto the DK and Jakiro. Will now turn around, Laguna comes out, will be enough to bring him down. I think that was the slow burn and not an extra right click there, but nice pickup by the Lena there. And a good rotation by Clockwork to secure that kill. If Radiant lose all these lanes, I don't see them having a good time in this game. They really lack the disable to to beat up our Pod when it's Legend. And like bring down this Juggernaut and this Lena. They just have massive physical damage. So they really have to get items to be able to contest and just be able to right click these heroes down if this Rasta and Clock are doing their jobs and locking these Radiant cores down. So 3k gold advantage for Dire already. Let's take a look at net worth here. As Dire are enjoying superior net worth numbers on all of their cores compared to the Radiant counterparts. Never rotation by Dire, trying to find something bottom, but PA sniffs that out. And we'll retreat back under tower. Lycan feels a little bit emboldened to actually come back in lane again. Although he's going to find that these camps are all either blocked or gone. And no 6 versus a Juggernaut who has 6 means that he's going to have to retreat out of there. Or not play the lane. Lena, meanwhile, has picked up haste, is running bottom. Witch Doctor is hanging out under the tower. They have a ward here. They don't see him just yet. They're looking for this PA. Flare comes out. PA is going to run into it, so they know she's there, but they're going to see the Witch Doctor and try and transition on that. Meanwhile, Lena is chasing this PA down. PA is hiding in trees, though. And they're actually going to turn this and kill the seal. Lena with haste, not able to find anything, just running around wasting time. That haste is going to go down. DK TP's in. They're going to go on the Drabs now. As this Shadow Shaman is going to go down. Witch Doctor doing a good job of waiting for cores to secure that kill and not getting it himself. And that's a nice 2-hero pickup for Radiant. It's exactly what they want with this kind of draft. They need to get that kind of kill advantage to get that space for these cores to start farming up. Not much happening in the Everlanes right now. Jug is just kind of free farming. Jakiro hanging around. Lena and DK are just right clicking each other, but at this point, DK has enough points in Worm's Raft to not really care so much about what the Lena's doing. So we're going to keep an eye on bottom here, as this seems like the place with the most action. PA is trying her hardest to get level 6. With so many heroes soaking XP, though, it's a little bit difficult to get that. Jug is going to use spin on this camp. If Radiant saw that, there may have been a play there. An opportunity. As Lycan does have the Helm of the Dominator now. And has done a Dark Troll Summoner, so those skeletons will do an excellent job of tanking up the Omni Slash, as we have another pause. Top lane, we have a ult by Lycan. They're going to be running after Drabs. Drabs is going to stun him up, but the creeps are killing the Shadow Shaman. Lena's doing a good job of killing the creeps, though. Lycan's committing for the Shadow Shaman, getting very low. Now just opting to run away. Drabs hanging out in the trees on that Shadow Shaman. And Lovely just getting out of dodge. The Radiant are sticking around. May want to look for something else. Jug has Omni. Choosing to back up, though. Not wanting to commit it. And Radiant just run back under their tower. They're not gonna stick around. Mid lane Dragon Knight's gonna be working on this mid tower. He's actually gonna stun up the Lina. Clock is TPing in, but is only level 5. Still a little bit of XP off that level 6 to get that hook shot, so Dragon Knight just able to run away there. Lycan, no ult, but still has the Helm of the Dominator. That gives you quite a bit of push potential. And they're going to try again on this tower. Trying to zone these heroes. We have TP's top by Magnus, who has Blink Dagger. I'm not sure if this is revealed yet. Rasta drops the wards. Nice 2-man RP onto the supports in the back line. 3-man skewer into the spinning Juggernaut. This is a huge wombo combo by our pause one is legend here. Lycan's gonna get out of here. Oh no, the hook shot misses. Dimitri got skewered into wards there and was unable to get out of there. Both supports go down, but that Dragon Knight, or no, that Lycan gets out of there just completely illegally. Good job on Lovely there. Managing to get out of that. Dragon Knight did use Omni in that fight. Also hook shot, and Lena's gonna TP bottom. They're looking for PA. Flare's gonna come out, so the PA, she has a big wand though. Tries to blur, but this Lena with double damage is just too scary, too strong. And now Dire looks like they want to try and make a play in the mid lane. Mag is gonna blink and skewer the Dragon Knight towards this DD Lena, who's gonna just right click this Dragon Knight down. Shadow Shaman's there for the follow-up stuns. And nice killing spree for Dimitri. Mag getting a pretty early, I feel like a pretty early blink timing there. Doing excellent work utilizing that. And making some space for his teams. Radiant, they're pushing, they're farming, trying to make space. This is Radiant's ballgame. They gotta they want to push out these lanes as much as possible. Like, they don't mind these little fights happening in the side lanes when Dire has to commit multiple heroes to do so, because it just means more space and more farm for the for like Dragon Knight and Lycan and PA to farm up. Clockwork TP's into a bad neighborhood. Jakiro has the ice path, doesn't use it. Interesting. I'm not sure if you didn't see the clockwork or what, but PA is going to go down bottom as Dyer saw all those. The clock gets out of dodge and transitions that into a dead PA. That's quite amusing. But yeah, wards get committed mid as the pace picks up here. Mid is going to fall. And Drabs is going to try and scout out this Dragon Knight who just runs mid to farm. Lycan is continuing to be a annoying dog top, pushing out this wave into Juggernaut, who is forced to stay up here and clear out these waves. Meanwhile, Shadow Shaman, Lena, gonna smoke up, run into the triangle, find a Witch Doctor. Drabs is going to stun up the Witch Doctor. LSA will come out. That should be enough to bring this Witch Doctor down. Requires the Ether Shock, but now Radiant are here. Lycan has ulted. And they're Radiant are going to turn this around, kill Lena. That's a huge kill. Drabs, all alone, gets a ward down, is trying to dodge. I'm not sure if this dodging is going to reveal the fact that a ward's there. And the last second stun comes out. That's going to put Shadow Shaman into the chicken form that cancels the TP, and that's going to be a double kill on the Lycan, and they're going to immediately transition that into a nice Ancient pickup because they had those ultimates. And just use the expiry on those ultimates to get that stack. Now, one thing I did not think about during the draft, but Radiant does have 2 transformation heroes with the Dragonite and the Lycan. And so these are heroes that really do not like buybacking, because if they die in their forms and then have to buyback, they're not going to have those forms for the fight. I have a hook shot mid lane on the Witch Doctor. Zendron's just going to man move for the time being. Maledict's actually only has level 1 Maledict, level 3 points in Voodoo Restoration. As the fight kind of splits up for there, but has that Death Ward and Clock kind of respecting that. We'll retreat. And Dire are definitely on the ball here. They need to get plays happening and start things, start pushing down lanes and towers, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to smoke up, try and find one of these pesky cores to kill. As Lycan is farming, DK is farming, PA is farming, like, you got to find one of these heroes. Let's get a pick off. I don't even know if they need to get a pick off necessarily. I feel like Radiant's team fight is pretty bad. Dimitri's gonna pop smoke on the PA. This PA has nowhere to go. This on the skewer. The Rasta has those shackles. We'll get a PA kill, but that's more space. Apparently 2 Radiant couriers respawned, and I missed 2 couriers dying. But as what I was saying earlier is I don't think Dire necessarily needs to be looking for these pickoffs. I feel like they can just be shoving lanes and forcing Radiant to react. Because all the while when you're doing these like 3-man smoke rotations, like Radiant's just farming up. As I say that though, Radiant has smoked up themselves. They're going to find a Magnus. Creeps are going to cancel the blink. Dragonite blinks in front of the skewering Magnus. That's going to catch him out. Nice play there by Puff. On the DK, Jakiro chasing the Lena and Clockwork, trying to find something else. Lycan is in hot pursuit, though, of this clock. Clock has no cogs for another 5 seconds. Lycan does not have a good way to lock this clock down, though. And the clock's going to defensively hookshot out of that. It's going to put it on cooldown. Lycan's now in cogs with the Lena nearby, though. Clock is going to go down. Ooh, Lena now just gets bursted by this Jakiro, Witch Doctor, and DK combined. That's 3 heroes dead on the side of Dire. Now, Magnus TPing in has Blink RP if they want to use it. Omni committed, trying to buy some time and space. Dragonite's going to go down from it. Mag's right here, though. Pushes the Lycan into the corner, and Jug's going to get a nice double kill there. So, pretty aggressive play by Radiant. Picks up quite a few Dire heroes. I think that was 4. Yeah, Mag died in that. And at the end of it, they lose 2 cores. Not respecting that Magnus coming back in, or the Juggernaut's ability to just press R and kill your heroes without any kind of recourse. So what was pretty solid advantage there kind of swings back and goes back to the status quo. Because of those 2 deaths. Lycan has picked up Helm of the Overlord, so you're gonna... I think we saw Ancient Creeps, yeah. We got the Dragon right here. Dragon's very annoying for pushing out waves. Again, just fireball waves, and you have to deal with this constantly. But it seems like Dire are rotating down here. Jug's gonna show in the lane, but Jug's allies are right behind them if they try and go on him. Clock trying to scout out this Lycan, throws out a flare, and the rest of Dire are all running in the area towards the Lycan. Is retreated over to the Ancients. I feel like Radiant know that something's going on. They're running heroes in. This Jakiro is going to run head first into the Clockwork. Easy pickup. Hook shot. Maybe that was on the Lycan? That's an interesting hook shot there by Clockwork. I'm not sure what that was intended for. As Radiant feels like are trying to play in the area, but not sure if they really want to be taking this fight. They don't really have good vision. They're going to see the Witch Doctor. Mag has Blink. Not feeling confident enough to go high ground with it, though. Blind. Scan comes out. We have Dragonite ult. So Radiant are going to try and turn this into something. Lycan's going to ult as well. Sports are running. Mag's in the area. Has RP. Jug nearby. You got to be very careful on Radiant not to double stack for RP. As the Shadow Shaman's gonna go down. I'm trying to follow the action. Yep, Dragonite is going to blink in, find the clock. Radiant just trying to bring down these cores. They don't have dust though for this Clockwork. Clock is gonna turn, try and pop the DK. DK is just gonna get Omni slashed once again, goes down. RP's still available. And no more Lycan ult. As Dire are gonna continue, they're gonna chase this Jakiro. And I don't think this Chikira is going anywhere. He has a Force Staff. Couldn't make a play, but Robok will go down there. Lycan was pretty aggressively farming this camp with those heroes nearby. Curious to see if Lycan gets punished. Ooh, Lycan, you go for those creeps, you're dead. All of Dire's coming. And yep, the Dragon is going to scout that out. This is going to be a big bounty if they get it. Lycan actually dominates a Mud Golem there to prevent Dire from getting that bounty. I think it's like 250 gold or something. So nice play by Lycan there, preventing that. Dire acting like they want to push. They might find a Rasta here. DK instantly reacts. Blink stun. Clock hooks in. Glimmer Cape on the support though. Gets the Rasta out of there. Macropyre on the clock, kind of sealing him in his own coffin with those cogs. He's going to go down. Dravs is half HP, is going to stun up the Witch Doctor. I'm trying to follow the action here. Is this going to pop the chicken form? Double RP onto Lycan and DK though. That's going to bring both of them down. Well, DK's surviving for a little bit longer, trying to get away from this Juggernaut. But he's going to go down. Where'd the Lycan go, actually? Lycan is running around. I thought that was Lycan stun there. I think it was just the Jakiro though. Jakiro and DK. That's 2 for 2 though. Core and support for core and core. Ends up being pretty close in terms of gold. More so a XP swing there. 500 going the way of Dire. More importantly, XP on their cores versus, say, like a Witch Doctor. So Dire are making plays. They are being aggressive. I feel like they could be more aggressive here, though. They have 8k gold advantage. Radiant's cores are not that strong just yet. PA has Battle Furies working towards BKB, so PA knows that she's going to be fighting here sooner rather than later. Dragonite went Orchid, so Blink Orchid DK, more of a utility disabler, going for that BKB once again. Once these heroes get BKB, I think game gets a little bit hard. Although the supports on Dire are doing the right thing, going like these annoying, or I guess Clock is doing the right thing, going this annoying item like Glimmer Cake to try and like save whoever the cores on Radiant go on. Smoke play by Dire. They see this PA, and that's likely going to be who they jump on. Although they're retreating for the time being. Juggernaut is not in the area. Jug is farming up on the other side of the map here. So I'm not sure if Radiant really want to be, or if Dire really want to be fighting this. They're going to be coming out once again, though. Congregating. PH blinks in on the wave. Mag is right there, though. Horn tosses, pulls her away along with the DK. DK actually blinked in front of the skewer once again. But this P is just going to be bursted down without being able to cast anything. DK gets shackled and warded, goes down to the Rasta. Lycan wolf forms, but now gets used. Witch Doctor ults, trying to buy some time and damage for his Lycan to get out of there, but he's just going to go down to the wards and pop combined. Lycan gets stunned up once again by the draft, goes down. 4 heroes dead. On the side of Radiant, Jakiro is going to be the final one. Raz picking up a double kill. It is a 5-for-1. I'm surprised that Radiant is going for these like pick-off plays with this draft. Like, they have a significant push, but I feel like going into the tier 2. I know PA got jumped on, and that's what started the fight. But I'm surprised that Radiant are trying to do these kind of plays and make this kind of space when their cores really want to be farming up their BKBs. PA finally gets BKB. So PA will have that for next fight. Dragon Knight is still about 3,000 gold off of that, off of his. And where is Lycan? Lycan is also going BKB, but same boat, about 3,500 gold off of his BKB. I just feel like Radiant, Costco Hotdog really need to, ease off the gas a little bit and just farm up these BKBs. But no, they're just going top. Looking for kills. This is a nice double stun by the Witch Doctor, followed up by a Macropyre. Ice Path only connects on one, though. Rasta getting pretty low in the back line, forced to back up. Macropyre committed. That's the only big spell, though. Clock is going to drop a Obs, but that's immediately going to get dewarded. Lycan now playing in No Man's Land, looking at getting this mag. Jakiro 4 steps forward, but Dimitri is on point and blinks away. There's no Lina or Juggernaut in this fight, and Dire backs up accordingly. Lina's TPing up now, though, and Juggernaut's running forward. We're going to have the fight start with Clockwork Hook shining in onto this DK. Going to get turned on instantly. The DK is going to get snaked up by Rasta. Nice 2-man RP by Magnus. Picks up those heroes instantly. Witch Doctor going down without being able to cast his ult. Lina's just going to pop Laguna onto Jakiro. Lycan defensively ulting to run away. PA, meanwhile, is holding on to that BKB. Doesn't want to use it. Pops it now. Turns on the mag. Mag is going to go down. I don't think Lycan has night vision, but going to be trying to chase after this Rasta. PA trying to avoid this Juggernaut. Turns on the Lina. Just gets popped, though. Lycan. Ooh, long range shackle with that Aetherlens from Rasta. Catches the Lycan. And that's going to be a dead hero. I think it's a 4-for-2 as the mag and clock did go down on the side of our pause one is legend. And they continue to build on their lead. This Juggernaut now at 20,000 net worth. Full Mjolnir, Ags, Manta. Working on that MKB. And once he gets MKB, this PA is not going to be in a good boat. Or a good state. And that's going to be a Roshan attempt on the side of Dire. Radiant are still waiting on their 2 cores. They scanned it out. They know that something's happening. They throw in the creep for good measure to take a look, but Aegis goes to Juggernaut. And even with this advantage, I feel like Dire are kind of still on the clock here in terms of needing to make stuff happen. They don't want to go late game versus like in PA Dragon Knight. These heroes are about to get BKB, and so fights are going to be a lot harder. I say about to get BKB, but you're still quite a ways away from it on some of these heroes. Lycan needs 350 gold for his. PA has hers. Used it in the last fight, but Dragon Knight actually went down. Oh, looks like it was just a mag finding the Dragon Knight and Juggernaut popping Omni for it. Meanwhile, Rasta, or Witch Doctor, trying to find a Shrine on the side is going to be found by Lena. Rasta did go down in the mid lane, drop Snakes. So Snakes are down. Just kind of just fights all over the place. Apologies for not keeping up, but to recap, Dragon Knight died top, Rasta died mid, Witch Doctor died bot. All in the span of about 15 seconds there. And they're going to start pushing mid off this. Mentioned this during draft, but I think that Radiant have a sort of difficult time fighting and defending high ground against like a very strong Spectral Juggernaut, especially one with Aegis. If Juggernaut just hits, like what's your options? 250 gold on the Helm of the Dominator creep. Yeah, but like what's your options to stopping the Juggernaut from just hitting your base? Like you have some stuns available with like DK Blinken, Jakiro, Ice Path, Witch Doctor Kasky, but you'd have to be able to burst him with like PA, for example, or Lycan. And you have RP to contend with. You have Hookshot to contend with if you try and jump in on this Juggernaut. So it's not that clear how you stop the Juggernaut from pushing. They're gonna work on this last remaining tier 2. Juggernaut just hitting it down. Radiant are not concerned with defending it. Lycan did pop ulti, not sure why. Maybe they saw the Magnus and wanted to make a play on the Magnus, but Magnus at this point is running over the team. Dire has all smoked up. They're trying to find something. Lycan's gonna avoid them by just a couple of seconds. Lycan actually running all the way back in the base. There's 3 heroes on Dire, move as a group, trying to find a pick. Lena's going to break smoke onto the Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight has no blink, and Clock is just going to hookshot in. Laguna, follow up, will bring him down. Beyond godlike on Juggernaut. Juggernaut is 13-0. Granola having an excellent game here. As they continue hunting, trying to find Witch Doctor. Ooh, they see him for a split second there. Lena trying to get the Yules off. Rasta trying to blink Hex, but it was just a millisecond too late. Witch Doctor able to sneak out of there. Lycan has picked up the BKB, so they'll have that for the high ground defense. Dragon Knight still quite a ways off of his, and Dragon Knight's been getting shackled a lot in these fights, so he's probably not too happy about not having a BKB for what I imagine is a coming push. There's 30 seconds remaining on Aegis. And here comes the push, and let's see what Radiant's reaction to this is. Right now, it's just push top tier 2. They're going to drop wards to this tier 3. They are hard committing for this, and I think it might just be a base race, as Juggernaut is going to start working on the set of racks. Meanwhile, top you have PA and Dragon Knight, or Lycan just pushing top. They will secure the mid racks and start working on the bottom racks. Meanwhile, top forward is used as the top tier 3 has yet to fall. We actually have TP's top. I'm trying to keep an eye on both. Mass TP's top now, as Mag is going to RP2, skewer them in. We're going to have a fight here. Bottom is still getting pushed in, by the way, by the Juggernaut and the Lena. So no Lena or Juggernaut in this fight. Lena's now TPing in, as PA is going to find the Rasta. Clockwork trying to run away. Mag horn tosses PA closer into base. PA is just going to turn around those. Now in the fountain. Gets stunned up. Nice plays by them. Granola comes back. Omni's the Lycan. That's going to be 3 heroes dead. They lost bottom tier 3 during that, along with that mid set of racks. So I guess there's your answer for what Radiant's plan is on how to defend the high ground, and the answer is don't defend high ground. And there you're just going to reset and go back mid. Lycan and PA are still dead. Jug is just going to find this Jakiro, do a Blink Swift Slash. A very efficient kill there for Juggernaut, who compounds his KDA to 1409. Gets tipped by the Drabs. Jug opting to go top. We'll start working on this top tier 3. And unless they want to buy back Mass Heroes on Radiant, these racks are going to fall. They do that. Mag is going to blink in, Horn Toss, find Jakiro, bring him down. That's a dieback on Jakiro. That feels really bad as a support. That is very true with Jakiro. And Dire now. Continue pressing. Radiant missing a hero. Could be the last hurrah here as these racks go down. Lycan is going to ult. Omni committed though. That brings down the Lycan. He's just dead. No buyback. PA. BKB is trying to bring down Lena. The two supports in the back trying to work on the Switch Doctor. Dragon Knight has the BKB. I'm not sure if he sold an item for that. But he's just going to go down to the Lena. PA. It's the only core remaining here, and she's just going to get RP'd, and GG is called. Rampage on Granola to finish this game 2 off. So a tight loss in game 1 and then an overwhelming victory in game 2 for Harpaw's when his legend. Costco Hotdog putting up a hell of a fight. Not sure about that draft for game 2 from Costco Hotdog. They just lack team fight. They were very reliant on their cores to get items and contribute. 2 fights. You can kind of see the net worth there. It was pretty despair. And yeah, I mean, how do you win fights with this team? Like, you have a Lycan, a PA, and a Dragon Knight. That last pick, Magnus, just kind of sealed the deal for them. They were just unable to either group up and try and burst down this Juggernaut, who just remained completely deathless all game long. 869 GPM, almost 20,000 building damage. Excellent performance by Granola there. Anyway, that was game 2 of PDC Season 8 between Arpaz and his Legend versus Costco Hotdog. I apologize for the technical issues in game 1. What can you do? And I thank you all for continuing to watch game 2. It was a pretty fun one to watch. And I hope you all enjoyed. Catch you all next time.